It's been a rainy May Day in Paris. Separate marches for the traditional Workers' Day's demos. France's main trade union confederations divided over the best strategy to tackling double-digit unemployment. Some more in tune with the socialist government's reformist tack on belt-tightening and looser labor law. Others markedly more defiant and to the left. Neither getting a huge turnout in a nation once known for its mass strikes. Are traditional trade unions losing their steam? All comers have one word on their minds: globalisation, and how France is handling it, with or without Europe, with or without the guiding hand of the state. Case in point, the workers at Alstom, who last week discovered that GE had put $13 billion on the table for the struggling French engineering giant's energy branch. We'll see if it's better to do business with les Américains or take up the counterbid by German rivals, Siemens. Either way, is France giving up part of its sovereignty? What's the best way to save French industry and jobs? Today in the France 24 debate, we're examining France's May Day blues. And with us to talk about it, French Socialist Party spokesperson Corinne NARASSIGUIN. Thank you for being with us. Thanks as well to Stéphane LOVISA, the French Trade Union Confederation, the CGT, which is the majority union at Alstom. Thank you for being with us. Henry REESE, co-founder of the French-German Energy Policy Advocacy Group, I guess we could say it.
I would put it more modest. We're an association, an NGO called ENERGIE Franco-Allemande. We try to be a plumber in German-French relations.
When it comes to energy policy.
Exactly.
The France 24 debate, where you can always join the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter. 200,000 demonstrators across France this Thursday for International Workers' Day. Out and about with those marching in Paris. France 24's Yves Irvine.
The unionists have been divided into two main groups. One group, reformists as they're being dubbed here, they basically support a government plan to reduce the cost of businesses and taxes on businesses to the tune of some 30 billion euros. They hope that this will lead to profits and in turn generate new jobs. They say they hold some reserves that it will actually be translated into more employment and better wages for people, but they're determined to remain hopeful, and indeed their march today is going to focus on those forthcoming elections. However, this group also does question the source of the 50 billion euros that Prime Minister Emmanuel Valls has recently said the government will have to reduce its budget from within the next 3 years. And it's this 50 billions that is motivating people to turn out to the second, what we expect to be the biggest march. But again, rains might throw sway to that. People at this march, which is taking place at Bastille, say basically they're out to march against privatisation. They say the government is once again taking from the poor and giving to the rich. You know, a real opposite of Robin Hood going on, they feel. And they say that once again they're choosing to support big banks, big shareholders, and they fear that the social welfare system of the French state will be more or less cancelled out.
Well, let me put this to you then, Stéphane LOVISA. Do you feel that this May Day is about that issue of the state disengaging, the French state very hands-on in the economy, that the French state is withdrawing, as those marchers told our correspondent?
First of all, we must say that even if it was a very rainy day, we have 50,000 people more than last year, because the situation, the economical situation is worse and worse in France. So May Day is one among other ways for workers to demonstrate and to say we have to change the politics, we have to change the industrial politics, and we are going to talk about Alstom. We have to change European policies. We have to stop austerity. We have to stop to cut into spendings, because the cut into spendings leads to the problems like Alstom today.
What do you think? We've recently had a change of government. There's a new prime minister. He made a speech saying, I take full responsibility for the belt tightening.
Yes, it's his politics, his new politics is the same as before, but worse, in the wrong direction. So tightening the belt is not the right way to develop economy today in France and to bring growth. And we know that without growth there is no employment, and unemployment will stay very high and continue to increase.
That's the criticism that we've heard a lot over the past week, is that belt tightening is a good idea, you should pay your debts, but the timing is wrong.
I think on the contrary, we're starting to have a little bit of economic growth and we need to accelerate it. And that means giving companies the margin to invest, to innovate, and to employ more people. And that also means making public spending more efficient. That's where the economies are going to come from mainly. We don't want to raise taxes again, so we need to make public spending more efficient. I understand the reluctance. I understand the opposition, because when we had during the 10 years of the right-wing government, reducing public spending really meant cutting into our social system, really meant very unjust policies. And it didn't improve the economy. On the contrary, it made it worse. It didn't improve, certainly didn't improve our deficit, made it worse. But so it's not about the numbers, really. It's about how we're doing things and why we're doing them. And here, our objective is really to get the economy back on track, to reduce the unemployment rate, and to make sure that salaries, wages are eventually going to raise.
There's a lot of people who don't follow France very closely, and they know that in France you've big demonstrations a lot of time, big massive strikes. The fact that we haven't seen any massive strikes over the past couple of years, is that because there's just a general air of resignation?
The amount of resignation is high because we changed president 2 years ago, in 2012, and there was a lot of hope that the situation would change, unemployment should have decreased, etc., etc. In fact, the nature of the politics has not changed. We changed the people, but the nature of the politics has not changed. The reduction in spendings, the development of austerity still went on. So people are really sad today, and that's the reason why there is no large demonstrations today.
Henry Rees, let me just ask you, the conversation, is it the same in Germany as it is in France on May Day?
Well, there's also tradition. I've actually not followed today what is happening, but Germany is in a very different economic situation than France. I remember that I'd been invited at a big thing.
And might I add, a different political one with a grand coalition government.
Yes, but that I think in German-French relation has improved in the last months, the relation, because between the party Socialist and this and the SPD, there are long-term contacts. They know each other since a long time, and they trust each other, so that helps. But I was in 2000 at a conference where in French it was Germany and France, the two red lanterns of Europe. And that has really changed, really changed. So the unions who contributed a lot to the success under Schröder of Germany, I think at the moment they're quite happy. Germany had that are figures of yesterday, has records, I think, since 22 years, the lowest unemployment figures in April. It's now 2.9 million unemployed. Still too much, but these are record figures since 22 years. So this is very remarkable. And I think the unions are quite happy. The workers, I mean, this is a metal unionist of BMW and Porsche, and so they get bonuses of 10,000 euros, 11,000 euros and more. So I think, but the union man is there, he will know this better. The syndicat or the unions in Germany, they don't have much to protect.
Do you, Stéphane LOVISA, envy the German model where the unions have a bigger say in the boardroom? There are fewer strikes, but they have more clout.
They have more and more strikes. They are not strikes in Germany are not as visible as in France, but they do strike. About unemployment in Germany, we must say we never talk about the demographic aspect of the thing. In France, we must create 150,000 jobs to reduce unemployment. In Germany, the active population is decreasing. So you create one job, you decrease unemployment. So people never say that because 20 years ago, French people made babies, German people made less babies. So it's a very strong aspect of the thing. I do not envy the German model because during 10 years they have had a very tough and very policy against salaries. So today it is currently changing because Germany reacts. They realize that they need to increase the salaries to create growth and buy the products they build.
You're happy where you are in France on that respect. Corinne, NARASSIGUIN, there was this week in Parliament a big vote.
Yes.
It was a bit of a heavy lift, but the government got the yes vote for approving that 50 billion. It was non-binding, but still it was an important vote for approving that 50 billion in belt tightening, which includes the payroll taxes cuts that you mentioned. Of course, the next day, the point of that vote, to a large degree, was taking that piece of paper and bringing it to Brussels. Part of France's sovereignty when it comes to things like where the government spends its money, what jobs policy it has, is now tied in with Europe. Has France, when you look at these issues, lost a measure of its sovereignty?
No, I think this is about our independence towards financial markets. Reducing the debt is mainly about being independent from financial markets. We can't continue to pay so much interest on the debt. It's the second budget in the state today. So it's first and foremost about that. And we are in the Eurozone and we have to be responsible about it. There's no doubt about that. France has always been one of the leading nations in Europe for having coordinated economic policy, and this is also one of the main issues with the next parliamentary election, the next European parliamentary election.
Later this month.
It's also about changing the way. This is what the Socialist Party is actually asking for, that we want from Europe, is really also a different way of reading the criteria for the 3%. We want the investments, public investments in innovation, in education, to be excluded.
Public investments, that's really important because France is a country where, what is it, something like 56% of the economic activity is done with the state. The state plays such a big role in the economy. Do you see the state as part of the solution going forward, or is that number too high for you?
The state is definitely part of the solution. We even if it's to accompany the private sector in creating growth and creating jobs, but
that's not going to change.
We need to. Yes, that's not going to change because there are areas where only the public sector can have successful results when it comes to investing in our future, investing in education, in research, in some types of research, when it comes to investing in public infrastructures, when it comes to securing our social model, our social system. Only the state can do that.
Which brings us to a corporate deal that's sort of loomed large this May Day. It was just last Friday that we got the news that GE and Alstom were in advanced talks, Alstom, the struggling French engineering giant, to sell its energy branch to General Electric. There's since been a counterbid by German rival Siemens. I'm pleased to welcome at this point Sohrab AHMARI, editorial page writer for the Wall Street Journal. On this May Day, welcome to the France 24 debate. And let me ask you, watching events of the past week, what have you learned about France?
Thank you for having me. I think what I've learned, the number one lesson I should say, is that France is still not open for business. We're in a context where the French finance ministry said the economy grew just about 0.1 or 0.2%, which is pretty dismal. 10.4% unemployment, and you would want a context in which growth, in which private investment, in which foreign capital are welcome in France. And the message sent by Minister Montebourg's intervention in the GE Alstom deal is that no, France is still in some ways autarkic. It does not want to be open to foreign capital, and there's a big red flag, and that's very troubling.
Corinne, NARASSIGUIN?
That's not at all what's going on. I think France is the first recipient in Europe of American investments. And Arnaud Montebourg actually said yesterday again that...
This is the French economy minister.
Yes, the French economy minister actually said yesterday that we welcome foreign investment. We need a solution for Alstom. That will have to be some type of partnership with most likely a non-French company. And we're just trying to find the best solution. The issue here is not where the money is coming from, is really the situation with jobs. It's really preserving jobs. It's also about preserving technological know-how, or the patents. That is really the issue here, because energy is and will continue to be a very strategic industrial branch for the country and for Europe.
Let me get you on this, Henry Rees.
Yeah, well, I'm German. I don't have the double nationality, so I'm German. And if this national champion thing, I don't quite understand this. Everybody in the US, if I'm at international congresses, the Japanese see us as Europeans, the Americans see us as Europeans. So this is an historic possibility, if we do this deal with Siemens and Alstom, to build up a fantastic train champion, world champion, and a fantastic energy champion, European champion. And there will be some work for the French and some work for the Germans. And so there's a nationalistic question I don't quite understand. And I think, if I may add this, we are talking always about these financial aspects, and so I think we should get back to, and that the unionist, he was right in saying this, with these reforms in Germany, a lot of people are now in poverty. In France, you've got this term of précarité énergétique. In Germany, they didn't even have an expression. Now they say Energiearmut, which would be energy poverty. And this is all belonging together. And I think we should also speak about that, because the people will understand that. My French office is in the center of France, where people have in the winter either the decision to eat or to have warm. And this is all interlinked. We can go a bit into detail.
I heard in your remarks an endorsement of the Siemens option. We'll get to the rest of the panel and ask them.
Of the European option.
Of the European option, put it that
Please.
way. We'll come back and ask the rest of the panel what they think. You're watching France 24.